doing this for over a year now on the recording side.
Wow.
It's been a bit longer on the actual publishing side, but we recorded our first session in May of 2023. So a lot's happened, and I thought it might just be fun to take a second to take a step back to talk about the lot that's happened and how characters have changed. We've got some questions from some listeners.
Ooh.
Nice.
You didn't tell me we
Mostly
had
rah-rah.
listener questions. That's
fine.
still listener questions. Didn't know we were gonna have.
Yeah.
Their questions are great.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, I've got a couple, plus some of my own that I could spit off, but why don't we start with a recap of what we remember of the story from back at the beginning with the gala that the three of you were invited to, that ended up being more than just a party.
Oh gosh, that was so long. Yeah, it turned into the first
know.
test.
Yes,
And we had
it
to like
was-
defuse the bombs.
We were
Yes.
bamboozled, and we had to rescue fake hostages and defuse a bomb
That
and
was so
find
long
the
ago.
Blew up
bomb.
a few things.
And fight some mannequins, which
Fight mannequins.
went pretty well.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
like mannequins. Blech. They creep me out.
And we were very successful, and I misheard where we were, and I thought we were in like a Holiday Inn. I didn't know we were in like a nice hotel, like the nice
Oh, yeah.
hotel.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then Caitlin was like, "The Queen visits and stays here. What are you talking about?"
So that was our first, I think, instance of major Canadian lore,
Yes.
which is always important.
Yeah. And since this is a spinoff of the Graveyard Tapes, I couldn't start it anywhere else. It had to
Right?
start at Hotel Saskatchewan. It had
Yes.
to.
Yep.
It just has to, because that's where everything started in the show.
Yeah.
Would it surprise you if I told you I've only ever been inside that building once in my entire life?
I've
Was
never
it-
been even
was it-
once. So
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
live
say.
in Regina.
I've never
I've
been to
only ever been
Canada.
in that building once in my life.
Oh, on the stream I was in, I said I was on the radio in Regina, Canada. I'm sure some Regina listeners will be upset at me.
uh-oh.
To be fair, that is normally how that word is spelled outside of the
Yeah.
context of the
There are
city.
many words
Yeah.
that I say incorrectly because I've only ever read them and I have never actually said them out loud.
Our team was successful.
Scarlet Sentinel got a little bit hoodwinked into that entrance exam, even though you were just like, but no, I wanted to work on the tech side. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Madigan really just wants to be behind a computer.
I mean, what's a
Like-
good
Yeah.
what's a good Janice storyline if you're not being forced to engage with
Yeah.
the world?
Begrudgingly
Right, oh my God.
admitted to the Hero
Yeah.
Institute.
You forced me to.
You do kind of love it, though. There is part of you that likes it, at least.
I get to hang out with Captain Formidable and go to her barbecues at her house, and I get to call her for me. It's amazing. My hero.
Yeah, she's great. I love her mentors. I love y'all's mentors so much.
I also love the mentors, especially because we made them up on the fly.
Yeah,
they,
no,
but they're all
for
great.
sure. I think I
Like-
really appreciate that you really let us play ball with that of like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
me and Jess have invented a horrible superhero. Would you like to see it?
Well, that's how all superheroes and villains come into be. It's just imagination.
Yeah.
I have let you invent so many things.
For free.
You also helped create your nemesis, Hubris, who we haven't seen in a while.
Mhm.
We haven't.
All our hubris fans, they're waiting.
Yeah, which, so the fun part for our listeners, if you haven't heard me mention the fact that I wrote a book series that's basically the prequel. This is sort of like a alternate ending to the book series. So a lot of these characters, the more grown-up parental unit type characters, do show up in the books. I can't not. Met your mentors, got to show off your skills a little bit, and then you decided to sit in on a class on the greatest rescues that never happened. You also had to answer 3 interesting things about yourself that I made all of you answer. Because someone made a
Yes.
joke about it, and I commit to the bit.
Classic.
And then the homework was to thwart a kidnapping. Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you got a challenge, because since the Hero Institute has a very practical approach to things, they do seminars and classes on different things, but they have a lot of challenges. So your first one was to essentially foil a plot that was based off of something that did happen sometime in the past, where like there were these people going after retired supers, and you were able to figure out the real plot, and we got to meet and fight Goon Union.
I love the
Goonian.
names.
Yeah, no, he's great. He can multiply himself however many times he feels like, and they can all act independently. But he does, when he pulls himself together at the end of the day, he does kind of sit there and dissociate for an hour,
Yeah.
and then he's fine.
I mean, you gotta decompress
Yeah.
after
Yes,
a hard day's
very
work.
important.
I'm very glad that Goon Union is a proponent of both unions and effective work self-care.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we had some bonding time. I believe after that was when Madigan had everyone over to her apartment.
Yeah. And you gotta meet my cat.
Did have pizza.
Da-da.
Yeah, which we have fixed the fact that you now so you have one cat that you adopted. The other one just kind of adopted you, Artie.
Yep.
The one that will sometimes just start pawing at your window and is the most uncoordinated cat ever.
Gee, I
But
wonder
he
where I
just
got that
decided
one
hello.
from.
It couldn't possibly
Somewhere
be
around
from your real life cat.
Right? Oh my god.
I love the hanging out sessions
Right?
because our characters are close in age, but they've had such different life experiences that it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
very fun for all of them to hang out.
Yeah. Wildly different, but you get along so well, and Madigan is definitely the mom friend.
Yes. Strong mom friend energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had some fun bonding time and then a bit of a time skip, and then as you were heading home, or like I think you might have been going out for boba after a tough day, you found a building that was on fire and rushed into the rescue. Well, 2 of you rushed in while Scarlet Sentinel was dragging the giant propane tanks away from the burning building.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
when I
Yeah.
started getting into the more spooky powers, and I accidentally
Yes.
made myself pass out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. Whoops.
that is also when we found out that you can physically interact with your shadow hands, and that was Bethany's first time seeing the shadow hands.
Yeah.
This was also long after you got fired from your job, Bethany.
Yeah.
No!
This is way
Yeah.
later.
Right, you worked at a very, a hyper-local place that I do not recognize because I don't live there.
It was
TCBY.
TCBY.
Yeah. Subway
Yeah.
/ TCBY.
Well, I mean, everything's better
Yep.
than Subway on, a categorical scale. You hear that? This is Subway slander. This
Subway
will make it
slander.
into the edit.
I prefer Quiznos. Quiznos doesn't get a lot of love. I love Quiznos.
Quiznos is good. Firehouse Subs is also good. Jersey
We don't
Mike's
have
is
that
my
here.
go-to.
We don't have those. Not here.
Yeah, so the fire rescue was stressful.
I like that because that was the first real stakes. That was not a training mission. That was not something that we knew was going to happen. That was an actual fire with actual civilians and actual danger.
Started to get our stakes.
It was right next to a grilling and propane store. So Scarlet had to move all the gas tanks.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. And this is at the same time that we get
The
our
mis-
comm person, Abby.
Yeah, Abby
Yeah,
shows
Yeah.
up. Love Abby. Also love
Abby's great.
the mystery starting to sneak in. Not just the mystery of, about our characters, but the mystery of the
Mhm.
world.
Right?
Because something put the fire out and it wasn't us.
yeah, someone with the ability to manipulate electricity used that to cause a storm to start. I mean, it had been about to start already. They just used it to sort of break the dam, so to speak. And that rain and Blazewing also were able to put the fire out, and we got to meet one of the people who feels like they should be the one who takes up the Phoenix mantle, because he actually has control of fire, unlike Marcus.
I'm sure this will not lead into my overall arc of having my character grow a mullet and change into an all-black costume. This could never happen.
Hey, I already, Madigan already told you to, go for the shaggy look, so.
Stares directly at the screen. This is a reference to when Superman died, and then he came back with a mullet and an all-black costume for some reason.
He did.
He's
Time.
Yep.
huge dork. I love 90s dumb comic bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've only just now, just recently teased Manticore, but that's been the setup since day one.
Yeah, I remember from the session 0. And after the fire shenanigans, Madigan had to go to a work conference thing that was boring, but you were able to hack into some of the latest updates that are coming out in 3 months, so that was fun.
That was fun.
Yep, absolutely. I didn't have to pay too much attention, and I got to just type away.
Heck yeah.
Also, some good food.
Yeah.
Good food.
And
Yeah.
while you were doing that, your nerds were left unattended
You
in the
did leave us
library
unattended.
to research things.
You left us alone.
And look what we've done.
I did love
You
that
found
episode.
some very interesting things.
Yes, it was just us researching. And I loved this idea of Glider that she is a super fan. She wants to be a superhero and she loves it, but she is a fan. She knows everybody and is into it.
Yeah.
So she was the first one who was Googling shadow villains ? Turn screen away from Marcus so he can't
Of course.
see what she's Googling.
Yeah.
But she was very, and still she's very this is fine, it's fine about it. So.
Yeah, and you found one name that is connected to powers that appear to be vaguely similar, though you haven't been able to find out much more on that name, I don't think. It's called the Night Render.
The Night Render.
That was a fun name, because I feel like, if I remember correctly, it was collaborative, because...
Someone pitched it in the session
Yeah.
0 when I wrote it down.
Yeah, that sounds correct, because I was like, Night Render Demon? ?
He's certainly something.
Yeah, he's
And
certainly
you will
like-
eventually find out.
I'm
We
thinking
will eventually find out.
you know in Doctor Who when he meets the devil? I'm
yeah.
thinking it's like that.
Oh, I love that episode.
I saw
that
the devil.
was a fun episode.
I'm
Yeah.
rewatching
That
Doctor
was a
Who.
fun
This is
episode.
why I just finished the Doctor dances, and gosh, he's so charming. It's so fun when he beats the gas mask children.
Right- Oh my god.
Mummy.
Ugh,
God, that episode.
creepy.
But yeah, you left your nerds alone and we got into trouble.
And not that long after, you got roped into something else when you ran into Jumper trying to break into Prankster's dorm and found out that the prank that got Prankster canceled on Herogram was not actually done by the Prankster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that started that whole thing. What do y'all think about that? That was one of the longer, overarching arcs that we did, partially because scheduling.
Yep.
I liked Jumper. Glider was a little oh, at first. It's kind of that we had the same polarity, so we were bouncing off of each other. I think just at first, and then it's wait, no, Jumper really cares about Prankster, even though they won't admit it.
We'll never admit
Never
it.
ever admit it. And then Glider was okay, we gotta figure out something weird's going on. And that led to our just Prankster scavenger hunt.
It also led to the Marcus is deeply confused by how Looney Tunes style superheroes work arc, where rather than taking on leadership roles, I am consistently more confused the more I interact with any of them.
Yeah, we also had a time when we were doing research, and I don't remember what exactly. I think, Marcus, you were upset after, like, having a conversation with your dad where there's just some misunderstandings going on.
Yeah.
And it's like you felt like you were disappointing him, not living up to expectations. So there was a bit of a fight, and then you go to the school and you see Vector Kane giving you a little bit of side eye. You threw his coffee in his face and almost revealed your shadow arms to the whole school.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yep.
Oops.
Yep.
Oops.
Whoops.
Uh-oh. Whoops. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Thankfully, this happened like a couple seconds after Madigan hit the button to turn the walls opaque, so no one noticed the giant shadow arms that followed the opaque.
Smooth.
Also, at that time, Glider lost her powers after
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, your clock was
Yeah.
your stopwatch
Yeah.
thing wasn't working.
my stopwatch.
Yeah, you developed a new fear that you didn't know to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you still don't understand.
No.
You have theories, but you don't understand.
And knowing you, they're all wrong. So
I admit nothing.
I know. And that's okay.
I need people to understand it's been months and months of you going, oh man, when are you going to hit your doom again? When are you going to hit your doom again? At this
Yup.
point, I want to like call my shot and be like, mid-season 2, will that help you if we have like a directive? Because that's math-wise where it's going to end up.
Right.
There are certain things that I want to have happen so the doom
Mhm.
can be as dramatic as possible for reasons.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
make sense when we get there, I promise.
Hey, it might even completely change depending on what we do.
Yeah.
True. And if it makes you feel better, remember, I'm a sucker for happy endings. You may not have a fun time
Yay.
getting there,
Yay.
No.
but I am a sucker for happy endings.
I'm a sucker for chaos endings.
hmm
I like happy endings too.
Those are not mutually exclusive.
I will say, listeners, when Glider was trying to figure out what was up with the stopwatch, there would be moments where I was like, is it haunted? Like, is this a haunted thing?
Yeah.
Just be like, I don't know. Wow, what an idea.
What a concept.
That's an interesting theory.
Just getting all her powers.
You're
from
moving
a
at the
ghost.
speed of a dead guy.
Just a really fast ghost.
The speed of a really fast dead guy.
In the trying to help Prankster, you found some interesting things. Primarily, you learned a bit about Doppelganger, who you eventually helped take out, who is currently imprisoned somewhere. You don't know where. And you also learned that there was someone watching the theater, as well as a couple of other locations that I don't think you have tried to find yet. But you do have the ability to find those locations, so you can maybe figure out who was watching the theater and why. Because Doppelganger's quote-unquote feud with Prankster didn't have as much to do with Prankster as the fact that he was trying to get the Phoenix's attention. And what did you all think of that twist?
I enjoyed it because when you were
It
like,
was
this is a power stealing person who's been around the block a few times, I looked at us in particular and went, we're going to need a lot more help than 2 Looney Tunes characters.
Yeah.
And I mean that with full sincere kindness, 2 Looney Tunes characters to defeat someone who can steal powers and just has baseline telepathy. And so when you were like, oh, the plan is to get caught, I was like, uh-huh. I don't know how many take a powerful blows I was going to have to roll.
Now I'm saving those for later.
I do know us as players, we went into that fight like, oh, this is really serious.
Yeah, no, we were
Right?
like, I'm in danger.
It had been very silly, and then he showed up and set himself on fire and had telepathy like immediately, and we were like, oh, this is a real fight.
Yeah.
He never changed into the Phoenix. Marcus did his thing with the visions and saw that Doppelganger can, but he never actually did. He
you're
did
right.
turn into someone in Fury's one of the fake pranksters in a block of ice, which was when you realized, oh, they can keep the powers for a while.
Oh, it was ice.
That's
not
bad.
Fire. Yeah, it was bad.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that, because we ended on that cliffhanger, and we were all like, "Oh, this is a real fight, like a real for real fight." So the twist, then, that it wasn't what we thought it was, that it was all him trying to get the Phoenix's attention, was very interesting. Also, very funny that Glider missed all of that context. Just was like, "Let's go."
That was fantastic. Marcus, also, you had a vision where you were trying to see where a doppelganger was. You saw him sitting on a bed in a comfortable looking room with glass walls, talking to Vector Kane about the second void being active again.
Now we know.
Ooh.
What are your thoughts on that? What are the theories we have?
Well, of what we know, like a broad-scale, spooky space mind control organization is not a good thing. In a planet full of superheroes, it's relatively a bad thing, actually. So just the idea that we have started to kind of unfold the pieces of this nightmare conspiracy has been very fun, because I like villains that can't just be punched to stop.
Right?
Some of the arcs I really like in Young Justice are the ones where they figure out a way to basically brain control the majority of the Justice League and make them do some war crimes off planet to like get them arrested and junk. And it's like, oh yeah, no, villains doing mind control stuff is interesting stuff. You can do a lot with it.
Just makes things so much more fun and interesting.
I do really like. I know we've made up a lot of zany off the cuff NPCs, but also just the world building we've run into. It really feels like there's a lot going on around us
Oh yeah.
that we are not seeing.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
The number of context clues Marcus misses in the conversation with his dad.
Oh yeah, tons.
So funny. I really look forward to when you connect certain dots, you will understand why I'm over here laughing whenever I edit that. Because there are
Screams.
things you don't quite realize. It's very funny. Some of the things that are happening, it's a little bit of history repeating itself, because I'll remind you. I don't know if this has happened in this session yet or not, but the second void hasn't been active in about 20 years.
Oh.
They went inactive, but now they're starting to act again. And it's got a lot of people worried.
How old am I?
How old are-
How old
When's
am
my
I?
birthday?
I don't think you
Surely
guys
this will not be a
know yet
coincidence.
What Madigan was. I
I'm
think
pretty
Madigan was about like 1 or 2
Yeah.
when it was last active.
Yeah. So I know, because
Yeah.
I think my character's 20. I should know this. My character's 20 years old.
Or almost 20.
Yeah.
Just about. Like, I think we said 19 or 20. I didn't write down a
Yeah.
birthday because I refused to give my characters a star sign. But
Oh yeah, no, I have no idea when Madigan's birthday is. I do know she's 22.
Yeah. They're 18, 19, question mark, and 22.
Yeah.
Young adults.
Yeah, there's things going on.
It's almost like around the time they were defeated, the Phoenix maybe adopted a child.
Ooh.
You also know for some reason Vector Kane wasn't thrilled about some of the circumstances around that. You still don't know why. No one has asked him about it.
I'm sure someone is like one person has, and the repercussions of that were so bad it spread around. Nobody ever did it. Nobody did it ever again.
Yeah.
You're assuming that anyone who didn't know the reason noticed that he was unhappy about it. He's
Oh, yeah.
kind of hard to read. You just have magical dice rolls when it comes to
do.
anything, including
Rolling
mundane.
12s
don't
every
need
roll.
That is a fun
amount of
meta
times
thing.
I've changed my dice is ridiculous. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14 sets of dice on my desk. And I've
Have-
used every single set.
Have you even leveled
Did
up?
that
Like,
combination-
I was gonna say, I love that the consequence of this is that like me and Jess have like leveled up an exceeding amount. And you're like, oh man, I'm still like 3 levels behind everybody. I just can't stop succeeding.
So we have made a new rule.
Yeah.
So if she fails or if she gets 2 6s.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I've
okay.
advanced twice and I'm halfway to advancing a third time.
Okay. All you have to do is have a really important conversation with an NPC you care about, and then just completely beef everything while you're talking to them.
I'll just lie to you guys about all my dice, but no,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
That's just Marcus. That's Marcus's
Yeah.
biggest advocates.
And Glider, just trusting this random antiques merchant she met on the street.
It was like it was in Candy Cane Park.
It's at the park. It's a
It was
coincidence.
in the park, yeah.
You met him in the park, and then you met him at the pawn shop where he was going to fix stuff, and he taught you how to fix your stopwatch and gave you a little set of tools, because apparently that's all his friends get him.
That's
for his
super
birthday, is
normal
tools.
and not weird, and I didn't get snake eyes trying to
Your friends don't give you
Look into
clock
him.
tools at all times.
Only one of you is good at vibe checks.
I was
Only
gonna
one
say.
of you, and it's very funny.
So many of our villains are just going to get by without us noticing because we will simply not perceive them as villains, but simply as
Yeah.
just, well, that was pretty weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
weird.
I was doing something before.
That or you're too busy just squinting at the random guy.
I'm
Who
still,
is
like, I
that?
love
He
that
looks
for me.
weird.
Just-
I hate that for Marcus.
I just really like that you went into it with your like, oh, you know, he's Marcus is a young man who's like trying to find his own way and like make his own name, and then the dice just immediately made you be like, you don't understand me, Dad. Like you don't get me.
I think it's
Awful eggs.
fundamentally impossible to play a Doomed without a little bit of angst because the mechanics support it so well.
They do, and it's because of that our lovely listener, Ra is just like when I asked them for like, hey, do you have any questions to ask for this? They had some good questions, including the fact that Marcus needs to talk to his dad.
That's not a question, that's a request, and you are correct. Marcus should. I'm already envisioning a very heartbreaking moment where Marcus's transformation, let's put it that way, is already pretty close to complete and has that final heart-to-heart, but it's a little too late, and things have happened that cannot be undone. Because I like that for Marcus, because I'm evil, that's when it's gonna happen.
You do have some very fun theories about where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
You think you'll be evil, but Madigan's such a mom character, she will smack that right out of you.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be like floating,
Literally
unlimited
figuratively.
power! Just smack in the face, falls over. Alright, sorry
No,
guys, I'm
no.
back. Sorry about that. That was really out of character for me. I'm gonna put that away forever now.
You have been listening to Queen City Supers, a graveyard tape side story using the game Masks. Masks: A New Generation is a superhero role-playing game in which a team of young heroes fights villains, saves lives, and tries to figure out who they are. Featuring Caitlin as Madigan, aka Scarlet Sentinel, the Janus. Jess as Bethany Bertolucci, aka Glider, the Beacon. Ian as Marcus, aka Kid Phoenix, the Doomed. And Brianna Jean as the Keeper and Producer.